We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Boxingego unpack. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Yo, ERROL Spence is back in the gym training, and he looking kind of swole. The comeback is near. Man down. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to my channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang, notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the super chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, the Cash App, and the Patreon family. We working. Head over to my Patreon right now. I got a video. I did a group chat with a gang of us. Ego's Army. The gang's all here. If you want to become part of things like that, join the Patreon so you could be heard, or the YouTube channel members. I'm doing that. That's exclusive that I'm doing with those members. Patreon, link in the description. To become a YouTube channel member, hit the join button next to the subscribe button below. Now let's get into it. Ego Weight Watchers, where I give you guys a look into the fighters' lifestyles, before, after, and progress pictures, especially when they have a fight coming up. Ego Weight Watchers, aka Ill. Now this picture surfaced today on the internet, and it's of Derrick James and his star pupil, one of them, ERROL Spence Jr. And I must say, ERROL Spence Jr., it says early Saturday workout, and ERROL Spence, he looks in shape already. He looks in shape. You could tell when somebody's been working out. You get what I'm saying? And ERROL Spence, he looks like he's in good shape. So I want to talk about that. Actually, Derrick James looked like he's in shape too. So that's good that he got fighters like Jermell Charlo and ERROL Spence. That also helps keep him in shape, doing mitts. And I seen him on the Jermell Charlo when he was fighting Tony Harrison in the rematch. Derrick James was cycling with Jermell Charlo. So it looks like they have a tight-knit group out there in Texas. And I'm looking forward to it. I really am. I think ERROL Spence, this is a great time for him because I'm not going to say he hasn't been tested, because I do think the Sean Porter fight, I was there, I covered it at Credential Media. I do think that was a tough fight, but ERROL Spence hasn't been tested almost mentally in this way. Again, no disrespect to the Sean Porter fight. That was a rough, rugged, tough fight that ERROL Spence got past. The knockdown definitely helped ERROL Spence to seal that victory. But what I'm saying is ERROL Spence, if you notice my channel, you listen to my commentary, I've been big on ERROL Spence and telling you when he was like 15-0, this is the guy to watch for. He could be the next great thing. I had heard stuff from people who were in the Mayweather gym when Spence sparred Mayweather, things like that. So I had my sights set on the ERROL Spence brand for a while. Like, I knew of him before a lot of the people, and I used the data that I had personally seen, my observations, plus behind the scenes off-record conversations that I had from people who spar with him and or seen him, or in the Mayweather gym, just seen him around and all the stories and stuff, and I kind of factored it in, and I've been watching for the kid ever since. Now, I think that ERROL Spence hasn't been tested like he's being tested right now. He just survived a horrific car accident, and by the grace of God, he's okay. To what we see, the injuries were minor. All things considered, could have been a lot worse. That goes without saying. And I think this has brought something out of ERROL Spence, at least the way he's talking on recent podcasts, Brian Custer, All the Smoke, these different interviews, the select interviews that he has done. And I think it's brought out a side of ERROL Spence that was potentially lying dormant a little bit, because it's like the Marvin Hagler quote. It's hard to get up at 6 a.m. and run 8 miles in silk pajamas. And I think ERROL Spence, he spent so much time being the aggressor and calling out Keith Thurman and being the boogeyman of the welterweight division. And it all switched for him fast. As soon as he beat Kell Brook, it was kind of full steam ahead. The PBC vehicle, they put him in the engine and put him in the machine and got him in the rotation. It's like, okay, he has a belt. He's going to fight Lamont Peterson. He's going to destroy Ocampo in front of 15,000 people. And that was a first round knockout. And the legend kept growing. And I think it all happened really quick once it got, pretty much once he became a champion. And then he started getting the big fight, 50,000 people at AT&T Stadium, Jerry's World, things like that. And then the Sean Porter unification. And it's just been on and popping ever since. Really the Kell Brook was the fight that kind of solidified him. We knew he was good fighting Chris Algieri and Leonard Bundu and stuff, but that was the fight where you have no choice but to bow down. Kell Brook came to fight. Kell Brook was winning some of the early rounds and put him through a tough fight, but ultimately Errol prevailed. But I think it's been a minute since he's had to even show that hunger. We know Errol Spence called out. He did what Deontay Wilder did to Anthony Joshua. He smoked out Keith Thurman. We know this. He was the one aggressively calling out, and Keith Thurman's brand started to dip because he wasn't answering those calls from Errol Spence. He was saying, oh, this is my get back year. Oh, I'm injured. Oh, I'm going to sit this one out. Oh, I'm going to fight Jose Cito Lopez. So it's been a minute since Errol Spence has been in any level of an underdog realm. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So even though it hasn't happened at the hands of a fighter, this is life. So we're fighting always. We're always fighting. Life sometimes throws you lemons. So you get different fights in different forms, not just in human form in terms of a rival, a nemesis, or antithesis, or an opponent. Errol Spence's current fight is to show and prove that post-accident, this is the same guy we're dealing with. And I think that's kind of reinvigorated something with Errol Spence. And I like to see it. I like the way he's talking. It seems like I can't say he's matured because maturity comes with time. And, that'll be seen over time. A lot of people, when something's fresh on your mind, you can say, oh, do. Like I know people that they'll go to a house party in high school and be drinking or whatever and get super hungover. And then they say, I'm not drinking ever again. And they're saying that because they were just yakking all day and hungover badly and at work with a hangover, feeling miserable. But then a little bit of time passes and they go back to drinking and, things like that. So it remains to be seen how long it lasts. And, this could be a turning point where from now on out, we got super disciplined Errol. But all I know is right now, based on this picture and what I'm gathering and seeing and hearing from Errol Spence, he looked like he switched on and it kind of woke up the sleeping giant. The ability's always been there, but he admits in these recent interviews and podcasts that not so much training camp, but outside of the training camp, he was allowing his weight to balloon up and doing some things different discipline-wise or lack thereof discipline that he previously wasn't doing. And I kind of noticed it. Like, he wasn't in horrible shape for the Mikey Garcia fight or anything. He actually came a pound under, but he was always like on Snapchat with the sauna suit, running miles with the sauna suit and heavy gear. You see guys like Roman Chocolatito the same way. That's because that's generally not necessarily a great sign because you have a lot of weight to lose, especially when you start seeing that nonstop, always in the sauna, pictures in the sauna. Like Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., I remember he's another person that's had major discipline issues. When he was about to fight Canelo, he was flexing in the sauna and stuff like that. And it looks good. It looks like he's in good shape, but he's still having to cut weight. And when he fought Canelo and he weighed in, he kind of looked a little bit, thin and things like that. So it makes your job harder. And I've stressed this on my channel for a long time. You can take me for, I'm not the fighter, I'm not a coach or anything like that, but it's just simple mathematics. You don't give yourself the proper head start by not staying in shape year round. If you stay in shape, this is your profession. When you get to the upper echelon, you're making good money, more money than you can in other sports for the length of time you're actually in the ring. Max 36 minutes for a 12-round championship fight, right? And it just requires you to be disciplined. That's just what it is. And you do yourself a huge disservice when you start the camp as a fat camp, because now instead of going straight into strategy and picking out the sparring partners that you want and things like that, you're not being able to go straight into that. You have to really lose weight, run 2 times a day and things like that. That whole step can be reduced or skipped altogether if you manage your weight. So I'm really happy for Errol Spence. I'm definitely going to support his career. I like where he left off. As far as boxing, he unified. He's calling out the big names. He's continuing to call out the big names. Post accident, he still wants to smoke. I mean, this is a throwback fighter we're dealing with mentally, because who goes into an accident? I'm not trying to roast. I like Keith Thurman, but I'm just being real. Who goes into a horrific accident and says, I don't need no fill out process. I don't need no tune up. Put me back in the water. I'm a shark. Let me swim. Let me swim with the rest of the sharks. Pacquiao, Danny Garcia. He said, I'm not really checking for Keith Thurman because he fronted on me, but I want the big fights. I'll fight Terrence Crawford. Let's get the business to make sense. So, I mean, it's just a real throwback attitude versus someone like Keith Thurman. If we're being real, Keith Thurman has a lot of hiccups. Like, he's injured. He's in bumper car accidents. His neck hurt and back hurt. My neck and my back. And he's had these different things. And he's vocal about telling you that he's not coming back. Like, if I'm not mistaken, he just said he has a hand injury, so he probably won't fight this year. Like, what? Like, this is like really Derrick Rose level injuries plaguing his career, or a lack of hunger or whatever, and it's keeping him out. Meanwhile, how does Keith Thurman have these injuries and get back years and stuff that he's taking 8 to 12 months off? Errol flew out the car and he's already back in training, keeping his weight down and requesting and not wanting a tune-up, wanting to bypass a tune-up to fight the likes of Pacquiao and Danny Garcia. I mean, this man is a dog, nasty dog. There's no other way you can say. I don't care if you like him, if you like Texas, he's a dog. Not many people in the boxing game, especially when they've arrived and making money and stuff. You look at some of the fighters on DAZN, if we're being real, that money at the top is getting good to some of the guys, and you see either them or their promotion, but it still falls back on them, in my opinion, because when you get to a certain level, you really don't even need a promoter, so to speak. And they're allowing it, going with the okie doke, fighting mediocre fight like Canelo. He's fighting some fights that nobody's really asking for. He's not calling out the best at 160. The best at 160 outside of himself are Jamal Charlo and Demetrius Andrade. The best at 168, I would say, is David Benavidez and Caleb Plant. And he's talking about fighting Billy Joe Saunders. He ain't really done nothing there. Caleb Smith, he's coming off a bad performance with John Ryder. Kovalev, he was looking washed and almost got stopped by Anthony Yard. And Canelo rather fight him than Beterbiev, who looks sensational, and just put Vodstick, we now know, into retirement. You see what I'm saying? So the way Errol moving is completely different, and he has my respect. He has my respect as a fighter. As long as he keeps doing these behaviors, this is a high risk, high reward, but also high risk scenario. Because Errol Spence, coming off an accident, you can feel good in the gym and stuff, but Danny Garcia ain't no slouch. Danny Garcia has heavy hands. Keith Thurman just recently said Danny hit the hardest. He just fought Pacquiao, and after that said that Danny hit him on the shoulders or something, and he got the heaviest hands. He said Pacquiao has power, but he's also explosive, so that's what makes his power more snappy. He said per cap, just thudding punches. He said Danny Garcia. So for Errol Spence to go from the wreck to getting his stuff together, I think it woke a sleeping giant. I really do. And you just got no choice but to respect it. If you don't respect what Errol does and how he conducts himself in terms of his business, his boxing business, not like what music he listened to or decisions he's made outside of boxing, I'm talking about how he's moving as a boxer, then I kind of don't respect you, because he's doing everything he's supposed to be doing, and then some. I would have no problem if Errol the True Spence right now said, I need a tune-up. I just got off for something horrific. We gave it a pass to Keith Thurman. I didn't get mad at Keith Thurman. I'm like, okay, he didn't fight in 2018. In January 2019, His first fight back, Josecito Lopez, that ain't the best fight at welterweight, but I understood it. You've been out the ring longer, and he almost got stopped by Josecito Lopez. So you can imagine Errol Spence is fighting somebody who is top 5 in the division, top 6. You know, there's a lot of quality fighter, but 5 or 6, depending on where you place a couple guys. Like Danny Garcia, coming off 2 good wins in a row. All of his losses are questionable, and he never got slept by nobody. You know, even I think Danny Garcia probably looked the worst versus Mauricio Herrera or Lamont Peterson. You know, but nobody slept him or nothing like that, right? And Errol's trying to go straight into that. No tune-up. You gotta respect this man. This man is a dog. Give me a like for Errol Spence if you think he's a dog. And he looks in tremendous shape. Ego Weight Watchers, let me know what you guys think. Errol is back. He's back in shape. I'll stay up on this. I can't wait to see PBC and some of these companies start releasing their calendar. I want to see what people are doing for the rest of the year schedule-wise. But I'm definitely looking forward to the return of Errol Spence Jr. And I'll keep you guys posted. Ego Weight Watchers, let me know how I did in this video and what you think. Errol Spence, to me, he looks to be in good shape, and it looks like he's staying true. I like consistency in people. Errol Spence said he was doing some things wrong in off seasons, keeping his weight too high. I can look at Errol Spence and tell you this is not the biggest I've seen him. It looks like he's actually monitoring, managing. He's training. He's managing his weight. That's a great thing. So it looks like, all things considered, Errol Spence is in a great headspace. So that just leads for the best fights and a lot of action fights. So can't wait to see the return of Errol Spence. I know a lot of you guys want to see it as well. Let me know in the comment section. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off. We unpacked. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.